Hey, Lysandra Everett here from abetteryouprint.com, and today I want to share with you about Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I'm actually reading this book for the second time, and so I want to share with you about chapter 2 today. Chapter 2 is, the subject of chapter 2 is desire. Now, as we go on in chapter 2, we're continuing following Barnes, Mr. Barnes, on his quest to become a business associate of Thomas Edison. And in this chapter, and when most people share about chapter 2, they share Napoleon Hill's 6 steps to turn desires into gold. That's great. That is a major part of this book in establishing the definiteness of purpose. That's great. But this time around, when I'm reading this book, there are so many things that I got out of this that I missed the first time that I believe that are key, that when you just read the book, you kind of glean over it and get the major parts, but not get the little parts that really mean something. And so I'm going to share those with you today. Okay, so the first thing, of course, he talks about desire being the first step into, to any accomplishment, is to having that desire. Now, here is one of the first things that caught my attention this time around, okay, is that Barnes waited 5 years. He worked 5 years for the opportunity to become Thomas Edison's business partner. Now, he worked 5 years. We got the nerve to get disgruntled and want to quit after 6 months, 90 days of not seeing anything. This man worked for 5 years because this is the thing that he wanted, and he was really determined to get that. Now, there's another thing here where he tells the story of the commander who sailed onto some ship. His country was about to go to war with another country, and once they unloaded the boats, he set the boats on fire because they were either going to be successful or they were going to die. One of the two. They were either going to win or die. Okay? Now, here's the key statement he said in this book. I'm going to get my glasses so I can read it. Okay. He said that his one purpose was to work with Edison. And I'm on page 16 in case you want to go read it, okay? He said, he did not say, I will keep my eyes open for another opportunity in case I fail to get what I want in the Edison organization. There is but one thing in this world that I am determined to have. He left himself no alternative. So, as much as we talk about having plan Bs in our lives, Plan B is basically what we have in case we failed. Well, and for this person, and the way that we need to be is that failure is not an option. We have to keep going if that's what we really want. Because see, 9 times out of 10, if you quit, you really didn't want it that bad anyway, okay? So, and that goes back to the thing about desire. You have to keep that desire. And the other thing is that he also said, every person who wins in any undertaking must be willing to burn his ships and cut all sources of retreat. This is the good part. Only by doing so can one be sure of maintaining the state of mind known as a burning desire to win, which is essential to success. Now, the state of mind. The state of mind is who you become. It's not just a cool thought. Once your state of mind changes, you become a different person. So what he was saying here is that you've got to become the person necessary to do what is required to get what you want. Then he shares the 6 steps to turning desires into gold. And the other thing he said in this chapter is that he said, we are the most fortunate people because we have the opportunity to develop and market our talents. Boom. Okay. Then, and this is where he has his famous quote, every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent success. Okay, so if you can fail, you can succeed. He talked about Edison and the light bulb and his 10,000 failures. But here's the deal. If God gives you something, if God gives you a dream, and he goes on to talk about dreaming. And this is really where I want to focus, because we don't dream anymore. Once we become adults, we are overtaken by our responsibilities. And rightly so. We have families, our children have to eat. Those things are just necessary. However, that does not take away from the dream. When we were kids, we would sit there and dream up all sorts of stuff. I wanted to be Wonder Woman. I would go out in my front yard and spin around until I fell over, because you could not tell me that I couldn't become Wonder Woman. It wasn't until later I found out that Wonder Woman was just a character, but in my eyes, she was real. Okay, but the thing about it is that if God gives you an idea, a vision of your life in your mind, then it can become real if you do the work. And that's what Napoleon Hill was talking about, the desire. But I believe you have to have a dream first. That has to be given to you first and developed by you. And then you've got to have the desire behind the dream in order for it to become real. And from that, with that desire, you have to have consistent action and unwillingness to accept defeat. Because, and that's the other thing that he said. He said defeat only happens when the person accepts defeat as a reality. And that's on page 21. But it's in chapter 2. I don't even know what kind of book you have, but it's it's in chapter 2. Okay. And then here's the other thing that is key, and I think that's it for this chapter. I think no one is ready for a thing until he believes he can require it. Belief. The state of mind must be belief, not mere hope or wish. Belief. Open-mindedness is essential for belief. Closed minds do not inspire faith, courage, and belief. Okay? So, belief and knowing is a personal choice. Because if you believe something, you will act based on what you believe. If you believe something is not possible for you, you're not going to do anything about it. It might be possible for somebody else over there, but if you don't believe it's possible for you, if you don't have that belief, you will not do anything. You must believe, therefore you will act on what you believe. Okay? So that's really it for the extra that I found in chapter 2. And for the 6 steps, listen, go to Google and look that up. Everybody's talked about that. These are the other little nitty-gritty things that I found, okay? But listen, if you don't have a copy of this book, go to my website, www.abetteryouprint.com. Grab a free membership. There's a copy of the book there for you. I highly encourage you to read it. And if you've already read it, read it again. It is excellent the second time around. It's just as good as it was the first time. Okay? Thanks a lot for tuning in. I appreciate it. See you next time. Bye.